Hello, welcome to another FinApp tutorial. In this video, we are going to cover the model portfolio section, which is also called as a recommended portfolios. So far we've been covering about the funds. We are now moving to the portfolio section. Okay. So model portfolio, recommended portfolio generally is an extremely powerful feature which any advisor should be using in order to standardize the advisory process. So we all have this list of funds that we keep a track of, but seldom do we really focus in terms of coming out with model portfolios, so to say. Now, the model portfolio can be based on different parameters. It can be based on goal-based parameters. It can be based on risk-based parameters. It can be even like an investment team or a wealth management kind of a concept. However, whichever kind of team that you follow or whichever kind of model that you follow, it is very important for you to know that what really value, what kind of value does a model portfolio give, and how is it going to be helping your business, uh, for you to sort of create a standard advisory alpha which you will be able to also communicate to the clients. So I'm going to be focusing in terms of the benefits of creating a model portfolio and how is it really going to be helping you in terms of communicating that value to the clients. Okay. So first of all, the model portfolios that you will actually be that you're seeing over here, these are different portfolios that a sample advisor has created. The portfolios can be created from the section called as portfolio builder. You can select the funds, you can give a weightage to each of the funds, and then you will also have a provision to name a portfolio like this. And then once you save it, it is going to be coming and sitting under the portfolio section. So now let me just take you to one portfolio which is just randomly named as training March 27. So now when I click on view, I'm able to see the data at a portfolio level. Now, why is this very important? Because it is going to be giving you a very holistic view in terms of what is the asset allocation. Let's say there is an equity 50% and a hybrid 50%. That is a kind of portfolio that we've selected at this point in time. It is also giving you the market cap combinations and all of that. Now, where does a portfolio lie as far as the duration is concerned, the ideal holding period is concerned? 50% of the portfolio is positioned between 5 and 7 years, whereas another 50% is positioned between 3 and 5 years. So you basically get an idea in terms of what the kind of holding period that this portfolio has. Okay, so this is called as a macro analysis. Then we come to this section called as return analysis, which is extremely important. Here we are actually running a portfolio simulation, a return simulation at a portfolio level as well as at the benchmark. So, mind you, here the benchmark is a customized synthetic benchmark that we've created by investing the same amount of money into the scheme benchmarks at the same weightage. That is how we create this particular benchmark. So, essentially, it's a very apple to apple kind of a comparison. And you can see that how the portfolio has performed alongside the benchmark over multiple time period. Now, this is on a trailing basis. You also have an option to see it on an absolute basis, at different levels of quarters and half yearly performance and calendar year performance, and so on and so forth. So you basically get to see multiple dimensions of the performance of the portfolio versus the benchmark. And we also are running a simulator, which is like a hypothetical investments of 1 lakh we made 3 years ago. How the portfolio has actually performed via the benchmark is another set of data that you can actually see in this particular screen. Okay, so mind you, like I said before, that this is all at a portfolio level. Now we are also coming and then showing you the risk analysis, extremely important again, because not too many systems and a platform does show the portfolio level risk analysis, but we sort of take a step ahead and then we sort of show you that. As you know that we cover about 11 ratios, and each of those ratios we are sort of showing you what is the default, not exactly default, what is the actual 1 year and 3 year values against each of this portfolio. So it essentially say that maximum drawdown for a 1 year is minus 10.08, and then for 3 years it is 11.44. So you might be observing that certain values are highlighted in green while some other in red. It essentially means that because just by listing the values, it doesn't really make any sense, right? So we are trying to benchmark it, or we are trying to compare it with the default average value, and anything which is in green are within the acceptable range, and anything which is in red are beyond the acceptable range. To put it very simply, let's say if I take an example, a Sharpe ratio of 1 year, minus 0.15 is lesser. At this particular portfolio Sharpe is actually lesser than what is expected at a default level, but at the same time on a 3-year level it is actually above the expectation range. So simplistically speaking, the more number of greens that you have on the portfolio is much better for you as compared to the red. It's as simple as that. We are also showing you the overall risk trajectory of where does this portfolio lie from a risk rating perspective, starting from conservative to aggressive. So this is lying somewhere in between, let's say at about 0.65, 0.7, etc. So that is why it is shown as a moderate risk. Now, especially when it comes to the portfolio suitability aspect and the requirement SEBI saying that the portfolio should actually be matching the risk profile of the user, of the client, the risk trajectory is a very, very important decision or a very important parameter that you need to be showing to the user. Then you have holdings analysis, top 10 unique stocks, and credit breakup and things like that. So all of these particular things is coming. And then you also have correlation and overlap, which is extremely important, especially at a portfolio level when you sort of proposing this to a client. So what you're seeing is the different funds over here. What is the correlation? There are 4 funds here. And then what is the total portfolio overlap, which is at 8.94 percentage. And as explained in the previous video of Fund Navigator, this is nothing but the return correlation between the 4 funds, that anything which is more than 75% or 0.75 will be considered as low diversification. Anything which is less than 0.25 and in between, they have a good and a moderate diversification as well. But more importantly, when you're sort of looking at it from a portfolio level, you should be paying attention to portfolio overlap figure, which in this case is 8.94 percentage. Okay, so if you just take a step back and visualize, as an advisor, you went to the portfolio builder, you created the model portfolio using your own favorite funds, and you saved that portfolio, which is now available to you under the portfolio section, and you're seeing the data for this portfolio. You're seeing this as a as your own recommended model portfolio as a data. But how is it really going to be helping you in terms of your business? How is it really going to be helping your clients? And that is a bigger question, or a bigger picture question, so to say. Because on one side, you're doing a lot of research. On the other side, if these research are not really put into practice, if it is not being implemented correctly, it's of futile use, right? It's really not going to be mattering too much. I mean, as long as you just keep running a research and development lab, but you're really not using that, the output of that research and development lab into your clients. So that is where we've come out with this very unique, interesting feature called as investment themes here. Okay, which means that any recommended portfolio that you've created internally, you can create or you can save it as an investment theme, and which will then be available to your clients for a single click investment. So I'm going to be sort of, let's say, showing this saving this as, let's say, investment portfolio is just the name that I'm sort of, sorry, it's already used. So I'll just say that it is you know just naming it as best portfolio. And there is already a description and an objective that is coming. And here are the different other things that you need to be giving file saving this. So I'm saying that, okay, it is ideal for wealth creation, and it is ideal for a period of 3 to 5 years, and I will rebalancing it on an ad hoc basis. And I can also set the minimum investment amount. That's the beauty part of it. Portfolio, you're creating your investment theme or a basket, and you're also defining that what is the minimum amount that is expecting from the clients to be participating in this particular theme. And I'm putting it as 1 lakh, putting it as 25,000 rupees for SIPs, and save this. Now, once I do that, it is actually going to be available under the client section, or rather in the client section under the investment themes thing. So what you've actually done, again, if you just take a step back and visualize it, what you've done is you've actually created an investment basket out of your research portfolios. I mean, the model portfolios that you've actually been managing internally. And this investment basket is now being made available to your and also to your clients under the investment themes in the client account, where they can actually go for a single click execution. So at FinApp, what we're essentially trying to achieve over here is, on one side, like I was just mentioning before, we are powering you with a lot of research tools, at the same time making sure that these research tools are also being put into use for the purpose of client acquisition and also for the purpose of client management. So in case if you would like to know more about investment baskets or investment themes and how to create one, how can we make use of in terms of client acquisition, do write to us or please speak to your relationship manager. I'll see you in another video. Thank you very much.